dream, I had a couple of dreams. I can't remember everything, but from what I remember, it was like I was like outside, kind of like in like a grassy area, and it was like a house, um, like not too far. I'm probably like 60 feet away from the house. I'm like outside doing something. I don't know, but all I remember is like something. I don't know if somebody said something or just I just for some reason just knew that was a fire or something like that. I don't know, but I didn't turn to look at the house. In that house, I knew that I was like where I stayed at, and I knew like my room was like at the top of the house. That's where like I slept in. But yeah, for some reason I knew there was a fire or something, so I just turned to look at the house, and I see like smoke and them coming from the house, especially at the top, and I could see like a little bit of the like embers and a little bit of fire, but mainly seeing like a hell of smoke, a little bit of fire. So that's when I like rushed to the house and went immediately upstairs because I knew that's where like my room was at. And it's like I could see like fires, but it was like fires in like specific like spots. It wasn't like completely engulfing the house. It was like specific spots, I saw at least like one. I don't know, like pillar of fire, but like a line, not like as thick as a pillar, but like a line, like a little like column, like a thin line, like going thin line of fire. Um, and in one spot, and then other spots, it was just like fire in specific spots. Um, but the whole place wasn't like burning though. It was just like specific spots that was burning. But I'm like kind of freaking out, like, oh snap, let me run to the bathroom and fill up this bucket and throw some water on it, whatever. But by the time I came back to the room, it's like the fires was already like fizzling out. Like it's like the fires already had like burnt up. And yeah, I think that was around the time around like when I woke up. And yeah, so that was that dream. Like you know how like you wake up, but it's like you don't really remember the dream until like a little bit later. Like that's what happened with me. It was like I woke up, um, excuse me, um, but then it was like probably like an hour later. I think I was on my phone or something, and I was watching something random, like a reel or something like that, and it was somebody talking about the movie Up. But again, the reason I'm saying this is because I woke up by this point. I didn't even like remember the dream yet. I didn't remember the dream yet until I was watching this little reel about the movie Up. I was looking at the poster of the house, and it was talking about something about the movie Up. You know how they be doing. I was like, oh snap! I just remember my dream. I remember that dream about the house. And then I remember this dream. And then I remember thinking like, yeah, that was weird. Like, I was like, what was like the meaning behind that? Um, and then a little bit after I wondered that, because it wasn't like immediately till I got the meaning, but a little bit after I thought about that, like, what did that mean? The word purification came to me. Purification. Because the thing is, with the house, it's like from the outside, it seemed like it was about to like start like about to be like burning up, and I was so worried. Like when there's a fire, um, you, you want to like rush and get all your belongings and stuff, or just put out the fire. Um, But yeah, I was so worried from the outside looking at the house on the inside. No, I was so worried on the outside looking at the house, and I rushed to the inside of the house. And it's like, it wasn't even, once I got inside, it was not as bad as it looked outside. You know what I mean? It was literally fires in like specific spots that stayed in those specific spots that burned up. And when it was all finished and all burnt up or finished burning, it didn't even look burnt. Nothing in there looked burnt. Like, it looked completely normal. It's just whatever had burnt up had burned up. And I can't remember exactly what was burning, but it was just like specific spots, specific things, in specific spots that was burning. And I was like, purification. Because it seems like I'm still like thinking about this, tired as hell, but it was like only in specific spots it was burning. So I'm thinking like maybe it's just symbolic of certain things in my life burning away or just being purified, or even just internally old mindsets that don't resonate no more, limiting beliefs. It could be external stuff like people and all that too. Job, whatever. Man, I'm trying to stay focused. I'm just tired. I went back to sleep. But I was thinking about it. I was thinking about the house, and it seemed like the house represented like me. You know, it kind of represented me like as, I don't know, a vessel, like my soul, whatever. Like, there's certain things being purified and refined, like internally. You know, it's like that's my home, that's me, that's my temple. You know, and the whole thing wasn't burnt out. It was just certain parts in that. You know what I mean? So, but anyway, I also had another dream, and it was basically it's the same thing of like it's hard for me to remember certain things, but the one thing I do remember is like also has to do with a house. It's like I was with my family, specifically with my mom and my sisters, and it was like we had come from we had come from somewhere. We was like exploring the city or something like that. We was on a train, whatever. But we finally got back to the house, and so we get in, and all I remember is that we all in there, couch chilling, like in the living room, and then like it was one of their friends. It was like one of their friends, and then like a friend of that friend, I think, or something like that. Yeah, it was like one of their friends. It was a friend of their friend. Now the friend was cool, but the friend of the friend. Long story short, it's like what I remember. We was in there, like he was like this. I was like meeting him. My sisters are like sitting down. I like get up to meet him. So I met him, and then immediately, he basically had some comments about my sisters, or whatever. Like basically trying Mac and shit. And so I'm like, but he was doing it like disrespectfully. I forget exactly what he was saying, but and it's like I'm generally I'm cool. You know what I mean? Like, and I try to like not make a big deal out of stuff. That's how I was at first. I was like, yo, what I say? I was just saying I was like, yeah, yeah, my whole family beautiful, yo. Like, yeah, like we all, just be respectful. It was something like that. You feel me? Like what he said, basically trying like Mac, but it wasn't like too crazy, but it was like, all right, nigga, like chill out. But then he kept going, and then he like went to grab one of them. And that was when basically he started tussling and shit. And basically it got into like, we like fell on the couch. I had him like in a hold or whatever, and then um, I'm forgetting everything, but yeah, we was we were about to start like scrapping. Cause we got in a tussle and he like fell on the couch, like I said. But I think that was when I woke up. Um, then yeah, and then I remember that dream. I was like, that was also in a house. I feel like that has something to do with, well, for me, the message was just thinking about it myself. I was like, yo, you gotta be careful who you invite in your home. You know, how many of y'all seen Sinners, the movie Sinners? You know, with the vampires, and um, they invited the vampires in. Like the whole thing about the vampire, like the vampires could not get in the house or in the juke joint unless they were invited in. You know, they were invited. The evil was invited in, even though it was under the guise of innocence or just familiar faces. You know, familiar spirits. They was invited in at the end of the day. It's not like they just broke in that bit. Like they were invited in through trickery, through seeming like family, seeming like friends, smiling. You know, and in this case, it was somebody that my sisters invited. So it wasn't somebody I invited. It was somebody really not even that really. But it was a friend of my sisters, or a friend of my sisters. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, they allowed it in. You know, and yeah, you gotta be careful with that. Obviously with yourself, but you also gotta be careful with your loved ones, with your loved ones invite in. And it actually remind me of a time. Yeah, that reminded me of a time when I actually um, had a similar situation, but it was on me. I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it's not like we intentionally invite evil in. At least I'm not doing that crap. You know what I mean? Like, nah. Like, why would I? No. Um, Intentionally, no. You know, and it was something a couple years ago. What was it? It was like I was out with my family and my friend and a little bit of his family and friends. And yeah, you know, we was having a good time. And then as the night was ending, or night was going on, um, the event that we was at kind of had ended, and basically, you know, he was like, "Yo, why don't we come at your place?" Because I live like close by to where the event was. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm like, why don't we come at your place?" And I'm like, "You know what? Yeah, that's cool." And at that point, I was like 7 years ago, I think. But yeah, at that point, I hadn't really had nobody over. I mean, usually I would just have him over, but I never had like more than just him, you know. And this time it was him, his sister friend, and then like one or two of his other homeboys, whatever. So I only knew him for real. I mean a little bit of his sister, you know, just saying hey in passing in the past, but I knew him, you know. That he's my friend. But anyway, so I was like, yeah, y'all can come over. Yeah, that's cool. So I asked, um, I think I asked my mother, could they come over? He said, yeah. She said, yeah. Da, da. So yeah, so we get back to my place, and it's like I said, it's like me. I think it's like two of my sisters, one of my sister friends, and then it's my homeboy, his sister, her friend, and like one or two of his friends or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, so we get back and we playing like Uno or some shit, like in the dining room. And I'm thinking, like, man, this is great. Like, I got, you know, my family here, you know, my sisters, and I got my best friend here. You know, we all having a good time. You know, yeah, playing Uno and shit, laughing. Um, you know, I'm thinking everything cool for real. Like, but then out of nowhere, um, you know, I'm chilling, just I'm like playing Uno, whatever, you know, and then where everybody and yeah, out of nowhere, one of my sisters, she like, yo, can you help me with something in the back right quick? Da, da, da. I'm like, yeah, yeah. So I get up, and then basically she take me to the front of the house, to the living room. I need to clear my voice. Yeah, so we go to the living room, and she's like, yo, they gotta go. I'm like, what you mean? What happened? Da, da, da. Basically, she had explained to me that like the sister's friend was so in the dining room we had like pictures of us up, like me and my siblings, my family, and she was saying that like the sister's friend was looking at a picture on a wall of my other sister, and basically she was like talking shit about her, and basically because apparently like a guy my sister used to talk to or something like that used to talk to her or just something like that, some gossip shit, and she was like talking shit about my sister, my other one, and my sister who was telling me this, like she could hear it the whole time, and like and she was like listening, like, and she didn't like say nothing, but she could hear her talking about it. That was when she got me and brought me to the front of the house, to tell me what was going on and that they gotta go. And I was like, um, you know, just confirming. I'm like, you sure that she was talking about it? Da, da, da. She's like, yes. I was listening to her for the past hour. I'm like, all right, bet. So I take a deep breath, and cause at this point I'm like, damn, yo, like we were just having a good time and shit, but you're not finna come up at my house and disrespect my sister and shit. You feel me? Like, and I know shit can go left real quick with my sister, and like, anyway. So I, you know, like I said, took a deep breath. I told her I got her, and then just, you know, went to the back, walked right in the back. Everybody looking at them like, yo, y'all gotta go, man. And then my friend, he like, oh, like, what your mother came back, or she said we gotta go, or something like that. And I'm like, nah, it's best y'all just go, man, cause and that then immediately, my sister butted in, and she was like, yeah, cause you talking shit about my sister, da, 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 da. And honestly, I forget exactly what happened after that, but I think the girl tried to deny it or something like that. She's like, no, I wasn't even talking. He's like, no, I could hear you talking. You literally pointed at the picture. Da, 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 da. I'm like, yo, it's just go ahead, get on. Da, 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 da. And then, yeah, so the girl was talking shit, and then my friend's sister, they had got up and left, and then I got between them and my sister because I knew. I knew some shit was about to go down, yo. And I wouldn't have been mad at it though, cause fuck is you in my house talking shit about my sister, like trying to be slick and shit. Like I don't even know you, like anyway. So yeah, and then so they dip out. Or the girl and the sister dip out, and then my homeboy, as he leaving, he dapped me up. He like, I'm sorry, yo, like my bad. I didn't even know what was going on. I'm like, oh, you good, yo, da, da. And then say about everybody else. And they dip, close the door, and then, but yeah, basically that just reminded me of that. That dream reminded me of that, like the dream about the second dream about somebody my sisters invited in, which it was a friend of their friends. They didn't know him and shit. It's kind of weird because he was trying to like Mac or whatever. But anyway, because like if they knew him, actually they didn't know him. Anyway. But yeah, it was just a message I got of like, be careful who you invite in your home. Be careful who you allow in your space. Because a lot of times it's like it don't be obvious that they are, what is it, familiar spirits or are trickster energy, because you don't, because obviously, um, gotta have discernment and be aware of, your direct connections, like your friends, but oftentimes it be friends of friends or like a second or third hand connection, third mutual connection, whatever it's called. And yeah, you gotta be real careful, man, because shit can pop off that you wasn't even involved in, or you had no idea about somebody's intentions, or whatever it may be. But yeah, I just wanted to share that right quick. There's definitely more to unpack. I feel like, actually, last thing I'm gonna say is with the time back to the first dream, purification. Um, Something that I've been doing is like allowing shit to just burn away, crumble, fade away. And I'm talking about old habits, limiting beliefs, but also like people, opportunities, or certain just negative, just things that don't align no more. Just letting this shit just burn away, crumble away. Let it be purified, It's like who I am now. It's almost like when I move into spaces or places from the past, or reconfront things that I've confronted in the past, it's like I have this like purifying energy to where it's like the same thing don't even really affect me no more. The same stuff that would get me anxious or nervous, fearful, scared, anxious, or frightened even. It's like be gone type shit. All right, I need to wake up, get some water. But yeah, I just wanted to share that. Those two dreams I had and how I interpreted them. But yeah, that's all for now. Peace.